Hello, this is Dr. Jim Swaffield. In the previous video, you were introduced to the high involvement and low involvement decision to purchase processes. To reinforce these theoretical concepts, I'm going to show you a promotional campaign that I developed for one of my consulting clients. This campaign was designed so that the promotional messages were sequenced with each stage of the high involvement decision to purchase process. As a review, when consumers feel a sense of risk, they become highly involved in searching for information about different products that can satisfy their unmet needs. Through this process, they learn about the positives and the negatives associated with each purchase option. This, in turn, lowers their perception of purchase risk. Now, here is a really important point to remember. The consumer is the one who controls this decision process, not the marketer. When I say control, I'm referring to factors such as how fast they go through these stages and how they conduct their search for information. For example, people with an extroverted personality tend to go through these steps at a faster pace than those who have an introverted personality. Extroverts are also more likely to collect information by talking to salespeople, whereas introverts are more likely to develop a deeper understanding by reading brochures and other printed literature. As it is the customer who controls this process, all a marketer can do is provide information for the customer to consider. The most effective way for a marketer to do this is to sequence their promotional messages with each stage of the decision to purchase process. What a marketer does not want to do is communicate with the consumer in a manner that is out of sequence with the stage that they are in. For example, if the consumer is still in the information search stage and they have not yet been able to evaluate their options, the marketer should not try to encourage the customer to make the purchase before they are ready. Let's have a look at the campaign that was developed. The company that this campaign was designed for was Best Environmental Technologies. I will call this company Best for short. Best manufactured and sold a product called Soil Rejuvenator. Soil Rejuvenator is a liquid that farmers spray onto the soil where the crops grow. Over the years, farm soil becomes compacted, hard, and depleted of nutrients. Once Soil Rejuvenator has been sprayed onto the farmer's land, it awakens and stimulates the growth of soil microbes. Once awake, these microbes start eating and decomposing old crop stubble and other organic material that is already in the soil. This in turn adds nutrients to the soil, which results in a healthier and higher producing crop. Once again, here is the high involvement decision process. The first objective of this campaign was to trigger problem recognition. To achieve this objective, a 3-week direct mail postcard campaign was used. 3 different postcards were developed to get farmers to link poor soil quality with decreasing profitability. The headline on the first postcard stated, "It rained 2 days ago. My land is so hard the water doesn't soak in. How can I improve absorption?" The second postcard stated, "My yields are up, but my profits are down. How can I decrease the cost of my inputs?" Inputs referred to fertilizer, pesticides, and irrigation costs. The headline on the third postcard stated, 20 years ago, my soil produced more. This year, I can't get more than 35 bushels per acre, even with fertilizer. The tagline at the bottom of each postcard stated, "We have a solution. Best, the soil rejuvenation specialists." The company had a database of names and addresses of crop farmers from across Western Canada. For 3 weeks in a row, one postcard was sent to each farmer. After the third week, farmers began thinking about the problems they were experiencing due to their own soil's poor health. Once the farmers began to think about their soil health, they would move to the information search stage and begin looking for solutions to remedy this problem. Now, rather than waiting for the farmers to contact the company for more information, each farmer in the database was sent a multi-page brochure that provided more detailed information on the problems associated with poor soil health. In addition, problem-solution brochures were developed to deepen the farmer's understanding of the direct and indirect costs associated with each of these issues, and how these issues lead to a decrease in profitability. For example, here are 3 brochures that address specific problems associated with poor soil quality. The first brochure looks at issues associated with using granular fertilizer. Specifically, granular fertilizer kills soil microbes that are needed to decompose old plant material and put nutrients back in the soil. The second brochure discusses how hard compact soil increases tractor fuel costs when pulling a plow. And the third brochure discusses how insects prefer unhealthy plants because they are easier for the insects to digest. All these brochures concluded with information that described how best soil rejuvenation can help solve these problems. Once the consumer is aware of their problems and unmet needs, they then ask, who is a reputable and reliable company to buy from? So it's important to understand consumers will use the high involvement decision purchase process to evaluate both the products that they would buy to solve their problems, and they would use the same process to evaluate the company selling the product. With regards to our example, to build consumer confidence in the company, Best Environmental Technologies developed a video that provided information about the history of the company and the research that went into developing its products. This video was posted on the company website for farmers to see. At this point, if we have done our job properly, the customer will move forward and make the purchase. The last stage is post-purchase evaluation. At some point after the purchase has been made, the customer reflects and asks, did the product work as expected? With regards to our farming example, improvements in soil health happen slowly. So slowly that the farmer may not even notice improvements over the period of the growing season. So, to help the farmer determine how much their soil had improved, a sales rep would call on the farmer and the two of them would go out into the field to do an inspection. The sales rep often did 3 things. First, they would take 2 soil compression tests. A compression test involves poking a tool into the ground. On this tool there is a gauge that tells how hard the soil is. The first compression test would be taken where the soil rejuvenation liquid had not been sprayed. And the second test would be taken where the product had been sprayed. If the product was working properly, and it usually did, there was usually a measurable difference between the 2 spots where the samples were taken. Usually the treated area would be much less compacted. The second test was a soil moisture test. Same idea here. A test is taken in a non-treated area, that is, where the product had not been sprayed, and the second test was taken from a treated area. The treated area usually had a higher moisture content reading. And lastly, they would look at the crop itself. This usually involved comparing the quality of their crop to a neighbor's crop who had not used the product. So that's an example of how the decision to purchase process can be used to guide the development of a promotional campaign. The following year, when the farmer purchased soil rejuvenation again, they knew the product worked well, so there was no perception of risk. And because there was a high degree of confidence in the product, the second time around, the farmer used a low involvement decision to purchase process. The second time, the decision was made without searching for more information and without evaluating alternative products.